Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sick. I'm not mentally sick, physically sick. I've had influenza for 3 days at this point. I've not left this room. I've been self-isolating. I've not even fully recovered. You can hear how nosy my voice is still. But I've jumped on this to make a quick video because we're finally free. Mason Greenwood is finally gone. No, he's not dead. He's just gone on a transfer from Manchester United to Marseille for about £30 million. As a fan of Manchester United, and as a fan of human rights, and as a hater of sex offenders, this transfer is very good for me. It's no longer our club's problem, it's another person's problem now. From Marseille's perspective, there are 3 different reactions from what I can gather. First up, the fans. They're not happy. On Twitter, they have this whole hashtag Greenwood not welcome thing going on, and that's just the online session of the fan base. Wait till we get to the French ultras, and I do love the French ultras. Things could get very spicy, and I'm really looking forward to that. Next up is the mayor of Marseille. He's not happy either. He's furious with the whole thing. He gave an interview. I'm surprised he didn't try to stop this transfer. I'm not even sure he can, but you know, you gotta try. And then there's the third one, which is the manager itself, Roberto Zerbi. Now, a few days ago, I think it's already reached a week by the time this video is out, he said this in a press conference about Mason Greenwood. And that sent my head to a whole other solar system. There's a lot to dissect here, so let's slowly try to go through this. Greenwood is a world-class player. He's not. I find it cute that his fans like to pretend that he is, but he's not. Let's not kid ourselves here. He was a very good talent back in 2019, but he's not a world-class player. Not then, not now. But it's the sentence immediately after that absolutely does me in. I don't know his background. Are you being serious? No. This is not a rhetorical question. This is genuine. Are you being serious? Do you legitimately not know why most of the football fans and a lot of the footballing world despise Mason Greenwood? Because if it is the case, then, well, I don't want to call you my friend. My fellow Homo sapien, I have multiple pictures, an audio, and a transcript for your viewing. Mind you, it's pretty disturbing. But if he did know about it and pretended like he didn't, which I'm assuming it's the case, then what a sick individual, man. There was also this rumor going around that Zerbi turned down the United job because he wanted Greenwood back, and whoever was representing Manchester United in the talks, whether it be Wilcox or Ashwood or Blanc or even Jim Ratcliffe himself, whoever was there at the time, said no to that, and that was kind of it. And those rumors have just been confirmed in 2 sentences. It's a very tone-deaf thing to say, but I can't say I'm surprised. He isn't the first, and he won't be the last person within this industry to try and excuse sexual assault just because a person can kick a football well. And not even within the club that I support. It's time for a little history lesson for those who either forgot or did not know the exact situations of what happened. Back in 2023, February, when the prosecutors dropped the charges, Manchester United released a statement saying they are going to do an internal investigation on Mason Greenwood before deciding what to do with him. If I could suggest something, I would suggest feeding him to the hyenas, but apparently that wasn't an option. It was essentially a means to say, well, we're going to look at our own information and we're going to decide on our own. Which is fair, because the charges were dropped, not necessarily decided that he was innocent. About 6 more months later, into August 2023, the club released a statement saying how the investigation for Greenwood is complete. And that was that. That's the end of the whole statement, which was weird, because normally when you complete such investigations, you would lead with the result first, rather than say, oh, we've completed this. Oh, you want to know the results? Fuck you! I think it's at this point that, at least for me, I started fearing that the club were trying to bring him back. Initially for the whole time, I was like, yes, Greenwood's gotta leave and he's gonna leave. But that statement made me fear that the club are trying to do a soft launch for Greenwood, which turned out to be the case. Because a few days later, Adam Crafton on The Athletic released a hit piece saying how the club has prepared everything for Mason Greenwood to come back, how the club employees were already told of his comeback, and how the women's team was never consulted, even though it was briefed multiple times that they were going to be, and how all of Richard Arnold, John Murta and Erik ten Hag were completely on board with this idea. Let me repeat this for you. Richard Arnold, Manchester United's CEO at the time, John Murta, Manchester United's director of football at the time, and Erik ten Hag, the Manchester United manager then and now, wanted Mason Greenwood back despite all the packages. Thankfully, two of them are no longer employed at the club, and I'm pretty sure one of them won't last past Christmas anyway. If you think this is a one-off situation with Erik ten Hag, it's not. Check his comments on Mark Overmars. The man has no moral compass. All respect for women. Pretty disgusting individual if you ask me. And it probably would have been the case that if the victim, Harriet Robson, hadn't released the pictures and the audios online, that the club would have done everything within their powers to make sure that Greenwood wasn't convicted. The same way Arsenal are doing with Thomas Partey. But it's not only the executive that defend these players. A good portion of the fan base defend these players like their lives depend on it and attack those who don't. It's been a few weeks now and the account's been suspended, but there was one account who wrote an open letter, quote unquote open letter obviously, to Ineos and the Glazers about how they should keep Mason Greenwood and that he's a world-class player, which I've already debunked earlier. That post got 28,000 likes and very responsive comments, basically agreeing with it. The Zerbi quotes that I showed earlier, the replies were all something like this. Very, very disturbing, so to speak. And even back when the internal investigation was still going on, when it was briefed that the women's team would be consulted, they essentially spammed the Instagram comments of the women's team's players, sometimes even going as far as threatening them. I guess they see themselves in Greenwood, eh? No, that's not a good thing. Seek immediate help. And they are always very hostile and aggressive towards anybody who opposes their views. A bit like a cult. Actually, exactly like a fucking cult. Their go-to arguments are always one of two things. One, he's declared innocent by court. And two, we all make mistakes. And I am gonna try to debunk. Actually, not try. I can debunk both of those right here, right now. So, first up, he's declared innocent. Yes, but on a technicality. He's only declared innocent because of key suspects dropping out and new materials complicating things. Essentially, he's declared innocent, not because he is, but because of the calamity that is the UK justice system. And for the second argument, everybody makes mistakes. You want to know my biggest mistakes? Collusion, jaywalking, lying to my parents, lying to my friends, stealing a pen in middle school, probably eating too much unhealthy food. Pretty normal stuff. I'm pretty sure most of you have fairly similar lists as mine. And there's no way in hell that you can equate any of that to sexual assault. Like, are you actually wrong in the head? Actually, don't answer that. I know the answer already. You know, it's very sad to see players like him, Thomas Partey, Benjamin Mendy get the support that they do and get away with their actions, while someone like Anwar El Ghazi, for example, has had his contract terminated by Mainz just because he said that genocide of Palestinians is a bad thing and Palestinians don't deserve to die. But that's kind of the reality of the industry we're in. People who stand for the right thing. As long as the right thing equals to whatever brings them the most money from sponsorship. This is a sport corrupt of morals. From the executives to the non-playing staff to the fans. And that's the reality of the situation and something that I have to accept. I do not agree with it and I never will. But what can I do? Maybe one day it'll change, but I doubt it will.